and welcome to 328th edition of Talk of the Town. I'm your host. I'm Ken. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight is the Three Amigos show. I look forward to doing this every month. Unfortunately, we're going to the dugout and we're calling in a relief catcher tonight. But all of that in just a minute. First off, I want to thank all of our underwriters. I'm going to start off with David and Kevin Gallerani, Cape Auto Body and Cape Auto Service. Two locations, Ouch. Stop it wrestling. Two locations on Somerset Street and Sandwich Street. And David, Kevin, the crew, and Karen and I want to thank you very much for your generous gifts. Merry Christmas to you and your families. It's always a pleasure to have you as an underwriter on this show. Next up, we have Wrestling Brewster from Brewster PC Solutions. He's going to be able to talk to you in a few minutes because he's sitting here beside me quietly. Next up, after that, we have...
No, he's not.
We have... who's next? Oh, yeah. Jeff Cohen, One Stop Painting. How are you, Jeff? Happy holidays. And then we have Trifletti and Costa. Alan Costa and Stephen Trifletti on Long Pond Road. Hello, Alan. Hello, Stephen. Tonight, we just do whatever we want to do. We have fun. And that's the whole purpose of what I call the Three Amigos. That's G-O-E-S, not to be confused with another group known as the Amigos. But anyways, no, Stephen, we're not the Three Stooges. So what we have tonight is we like to get things off our chest and say whatever's bothering us and get it out in the open. And we like to keep it light. We want it to be not contentious. So we encourage your phone calls. We're at 508-830-3971. You can call early and often. You can also follow Talk of the Town on Twitter at Talk of the Town. And you can follow us on Facebook. Facebook has been going crazy. We've got three particular shows. I was going to try and show you that tonight, what's been going on with that, but three particular shows have gone viral. One of them is the television program with the auctioneer, James Auctioneers, across from Memorial Hall.
Josh Rio.
And yes, Josh, great guy. The auction is coming up on the 22nd of January. Hope to see you all there. And there was two others, and right now it just totally escapes me. You'll have to excuse me. So I want to introduce you to my two other amigos tonight, and that's Goes, G-O-E-S's. First up is Mr. Wrestling Brewster from Brewster PC Solutions, and then on the far side, I have my good
kind of like Gary Larson,
my
the far
good
side.
friend
Way over there.
Stevie Lyden. Tim Grandy is apologetic that he can't be with us tonight. He had a rough day at work, and he's very, very sorry that he didn't have the energy to come tonight. So
it takes a lot of energy.
It does. It takes a lot of energy to come here, especially to sit with me. But wrestling is here, and so is Stevie. So, all right. Before these guys get to say what they want to say, I just want to, I support local business, and the Karen supports local business also, and we like to keep our business in town. I want to tell you about an upsetment that I had with a local ophthalmologist in town, and it's not about against business. It's about I think that the vendors in town, whether they be a doctor or an ophthalmologist, psychologist, whatever the case may be, when somebody calls up and makes an appointment, they should be dealt with in a timely manner. And, you know, our time is just as important as their time. They've gone to school to learn their trade, and we have to pay the bill. We can't go for free. So we go and we have our appointment at the appointed time. In my case, I have a part-time job. I've got to be at work. I call up a local ophthalmologist. I'm not going to name you, sir, but we all know that you're over in the industrial park by the Registry of Motor Vehicles. That's as far as I'll go with that. But anyways,
And your initials.
I call up and I make an appointment to have my eyes checked.
Who could it be?
Well, in so doing, I call up to make the appointment. I go in. Yes, Mr. Bukes, sit down. And the only reason I went and made an appointment was I broke the temple on my glasses. So, whose phone is beeping? So, see, my phone's not beeping.
I don't have one.
So I go in, I sit down,
It's an
and
ophthalmologist.
they hand me this 3 pieces of paper, make this out. So I'm making out the paper, and lo and behold, thank you, Mr. Bukes, have a seat, the doctor will be right with you. So I watch one television program, I watch a second television program, and 2 of them I can't stand. And I'm watching the third one, and now the news comes on, and I get the weather report, and then I hear sports, and I'm looking, and the waiting room is thinning out. And there's less and less people sitting there. I'll get to the point in a minute. So I took it upon myself at this time, took it upon myself to go over and make my feelings known in a very nice way. I said, you know, I have an 11 o'clock appointment, and I'm wondering when Dr. So-and-so can see me. And the girl said to me, now I've been sitting there for over an hour, and she says to me, what's your name? Oh, boy.
Don't you know?
I told her what my name was. Oh, he'll be right with you. So he comes out of the office, he brings in another patient, and then that patient comes out, and then he says, he calls me and he goes inside and he's reading me the riot act because I complained about waiting. Sat down in the chair for a couple of minutes. Next thing I know, oh, you have to go wait outside again. So I'm sitting outside and I'm waiting. Now the room is empty and I'm the last one back in the chair. Guess what? You lost my business. I'm going somewhere else. I will never recommend anybody I know to go to your place. I haven't said your name, but you know who you are. And thank you. I got it off my chest. Gentlemen.
At what point did you put your glasses back on and realize that you were in the completely wrong place? You were in the doctor's office.
Why are you surprised? I mean, a lot of what you said is not. It's true with a lot of physicians.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with, unfortunately, that the insurance companies are telling them how many patients they have to see a day, basically, to make money, to break even. And I mean, you're right. Your point's right. My time, your time is just as important as theirs. But with the way I look now, and I see what's happening with our health system is crazy. I mean, my wife needed an MRI, and we get a call, telling us, oh, we're not from the insurance company, but we work with them, and we're going to assist her in getting getting her MRI in an expeditious manner. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, we go to this one hospital. Oh, no, hospitals are too expensive. Then they're going to say, well, we can go to the Toby Hospital. And I'm saying, we don't want to go to the Toby Hospital. Then they recommend someplace else we never heard of. But the greatest one was where they recommend this MRI place up at Hedges Pond Road. It's been closed for 9 months. And this is our insurance system, the way it's going to be. And I'm afraid with Obamacare, it's going to get worse.
It is going to get worse.
Yeah.
But your favorite line that you always tell me, because you and I are over here. You need to fix your microphone. Yeah, a little bit higher.
I would
There
have
you
fixed
go.
it, but it would have looked
Yeah,
like
the favorite thing you always tell me is their bedpan manner.
That's true.
The other inherent problem is they're running out of general practitioners. My chiropractor told me that the government is going to make him be a general practitioner because all he has to do is take the pharmaceutical courses to become a general practitioner. They don't have any general practitioners anymore. So that's a problem with the doctors that we're running out of general practitioners. So, I love when you go in and you have a problem and they say, oh, well, the next available appointment is 3 weeks from now. I'm like, well, that problem is probably going to be gone by 3 weeks from now. It's amazing how the healthcare industry is just,
it's crazy.
it's messed up.
Do you really think it has to do? I don't want to get political here because we like to stay light.
No,
but do you really think it has to do with Obamacare?
I think it's going to get worse, and I think that's part of it. They see it coming, so they know what it's going to be like. When I went to this MRI place, I won't say where it is, but they had a pamphlet.
Wasn't next to the
no, it wasn't
place?
next to his place.
Okay.
No.
Didn't know if it was kind of like a whole complex.
But I just happened to look at the pamphlet, and they showed a bunch of doctors, and they're saying if you want this one, you got to wait 6 weeks for an appointment. This one's 6. This one's 6. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. It's crazy. It really is. But waiting is one thing. His manner and what he did to you was the other thing.
That's customer service.
Yeah.
When you don't have the amount of people that you need for an industry, you can get treated like that.
Yep.
Because the customer care, okay, go find somebody else. It's going to be another 6 weeks before you can see somebody.
But the problem here is that, you're younger, so you aren't experiencing it yet. But as you get older,
much younger.
Well,
yeah, you are.
You're younger than me.
Compared to him, you're a baby.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I'm the old year and you're the new year. That's the comparison. But as I get older, I notice that my eyes are degrading. You can't go to an optometrist. You have to go to an ophthalmologist.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. As you get older, they tell you should go to an ophthalmologist. So you call up and you make an appointment. You're rudely treated on the telephone. I was, but I put it aside. The problem here is I used to be in the service industry before I went to work for Travelers Insurance. I used to service over 40 cars a day. I had a staff, 25 people working for me. If anybody treated any of my customers like that,
they'd be gone.
they were gone.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Times have changed.
It would cost me oil changes. It would cost me car rentals, anything to make a problem go away. I was offended. First he blasted me. Then he sat me in the chair. And then I'm sitting in the chair, and I equally as offended with the way I was treated sitting in the chair. The eye exam was awful. I've had eye exams. I didn't hatch at 70 years old. I've had eye exams. I've been wearing glasses.
70?
Yeah. I've been wearing glasses. Your phone again. I've been wearing glasses since I've been 13 years old. And I know an eye exam, and I know when I'm being blown off. And I found another doctor. I'm going to Boston.
Yep. But, if you're blown off like they treat you like that, waiting is one thing. Being treated like that there's no excuse for that.
Especially when the other inherent problem is that we're used to it. I know when I'm going to be more than 5 minutes late to a client, I call them and say, hey, I'm running late.
Yes, you do.
And they're always like, why are you calling me if you're only going to be 5 minutes late? Because we've customer service has trained people to expect less.
Right.
And it's it's up to businesses to bring it back, to bring customer service back.
Well, you know how we as a family, Karen and I, and you've come to know this through your knowledge of Karen and I, we're all about local business. We want to keep it in town. We want it to stay within the community. But how do you deal with something like that in the community? And what, do you sit there and take it?
No,
you
did the right
definitely
thing.
don't. You did the right thing.
did the
There
right
are
thing.
other ophthalmologists in town. You don't have to go all the way to Boston, do you?
No, I don't. But I figured, you know, with the BS I went through,
Yeah.
a family friend said, hey, you went through it with this guy. Don't even darken his doorway.
Oh no, you definitely shouldn't.
No.
And they told me,
you live and die by your.
you go
your-
see this doctor. This is my doctor.
Yep.
He'll take good care of you. He won't treat you like that.
That's what you want. That's
And
what you
I
want a
called
doctor.
up. I called her doctor up. And it was like, oh, God, thank you for calling me. You know, this is great. You're calling us.
Yeah.
Who was it that referred you to us? We want their name.
Yep.
Oh, thank you for considering us for
Right.
your eye care.
And the other thing that you look at is, out of all what you said about that ophthalmologist, the thing that he should be most concerned about as a business person is that you will not refer that person, and you will
Not go back.
Not go back. But you won't refer that person, and you won't tell anybody to go to that person, and you'll talk badly about that person. That's your business right there. That's what he should be concerned
And
about.
that works. That
Yeah.
does work. I know someone who just came to Plymouth and said to me, "Oh, I'm going to Cape Auto Body because I hear they're good."
They are.
And he went. He says, "You know, they are." But that was someone told them, and that's word of mouth does have a lot to
Oh,
do. You know, has a lot to do. And I told you when you told me about where you were going, I told you an experience that I had years ago that I wasn't very happy with, and I don't go to him. You know, I am. You know, I refuse to go to him. I go to someone else.
Karen told me a long time ago, and, you know, she's a very smart woman. I found
Yes,
that
she
out
is.
over the
She must
years,
be
right?
watching.
She must be. She may be the only one watching, but at one
The phone's ringing.
at one point I got really bad. Hey babe, if you're watching, send me a text. So one time I got really, really mad.
Can't she call?
She won't call.
Okay.
So
She only called once.
Jimmy, I can hear you laughing out here. So she says, no, don't do that. And I said, why not? I said, I just, no, she says, you don't pick a fight with somebody that buys their ink by the 55-gallon drum.
Yep.
So, ophthalmologist, this is my 55-gallon drum right here.
Yep.
So anyways, can we move on?
I think so.
I think we've been.
Yeah, we
beat
vented that,
horse
yes.
We've
there.
killed this one.
Yep.
I read a story in the paper. Either one of you guys have anything before I go on? Because I can do the whole hour.
No, there's a lot. Well, there's a lot going on in town. So go ahead. We can
All right.
speak about other
I
things.
want to go into another issue of the prices that sports figures get paid. Quiet, Jimmy. I heard you. Now, I read an article online on my trusty Brewster PC's repaired computer. He does the best work, this guy. He's really right. He's great. I read an article that Fox had produced on their sports page about, now I don't know if I'll say the guy's name right. Cano, C-A-N-O. He used to play for the Yankees. Robinson Cano?
Yeah.
What did he play? Yeah,
Move on.
yeah, but what base? Second
Second.
base. Okay, thank you, Jimmy. I'm reading this article, and the story was that they were surprised that he wouldn't re-sign with the Yankees. So, and I was kind of surprised he didn't re-sign with the Yankees, right? Because, you know, everybody that's any good plays for the Yankees and stays there.
Because they
I
get the
mean,
money.
Look at Jacoby. He's gone there now, too, right? So, and it's not about the money.
Pull.
Yeah.
All about
It's
the
all
money.
about the money, right? So it comes to my point. This guy Cano leaves the Yankees, and he signed with I don't know, the Diamondbacks. I don't know, somewhere out west. And he signed a contract for $247 million or $44 million. And the lead line in the article killed the English language worse than I ever could. I didn't sign with them because they didn't show me respect, and they didn't want to offer me any more money. Respect? $244 million?
That's a hell of a lot of respect.
But it's not just him; it's all of them. Look what they make: A-Rod and Jeter and all those guys. I mean, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all of them. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it all comes down to who's paying them: the people who buy the tickets.
Yeah.
It's the people who buy the tickets, and I mean, I refuse to go to a Patriots game. I'm not paying that money, and the parking, and $8 or $10 for a beer. I'd rather sit home.
Oh, it's cheaper. We went to a Red Sox game at Camden Yards. It was cheaper for us to drive all the way out there and see that game with 2 kids and my wife and I, stay the night in a hotel and drive back.
Yeah.
It was cheaper to do that than go to the Red Sox. Yeah.
You're better off going to a local game where Plymouth, Plymouth now we have a team. The Paw Sox used to be, I don't know if they still do it, but
the Paw Sox
they
are
used
great.
to drop down an old Pepsi bottle, cut out, and the players would autograph it, and the kids would pull them back up, and it's $2 for a hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the Pilgrims are coming
great.
back next year.
Yeah.
They're going back to Stevens Field. I mean, to
Forges Field.
Forges Field. They're going to do some more work on Forges Field. They're really excited. Yeah, and it's a good take.
It's a good take. You're watching kids who care, who want to play. These prima donnas. I'm sorry, I got no respect for them. You talk about respect. I have no respect for them.
You wouldn't give them $43 million. If you
Hell
had
no.
I was just taken aback by,
You should be.
It's respect. That's not respect to me. That's just money.
No, there is no.
No, it's all money. It's you look at how many of the original Red Sox we've got. They all went somewhere else.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Show me the money. That's like a carrot in front of a donkey. You want to move, just show them the carrot. They'll go.
Right.
They'll go. I mean.
Now, you're talking about the Pilgrims.
Yep.
Okay. How many Cape League games have you seen, Stevie, in the past 3 years?
I've been to the one at Forges Field once, and I've been to probably 3 other ones. So probably 4.
How about you, wrestling?
Last 3 years?
Yeah.
We went to the Paw Sox a bunch before the Pilgrims came. We went. We hosted one of the pitchers from the Pilgrims. So we probably went, 5, 6 times the last summer.
I think it's a fascinating. Karen and I went to a Cape League game in Falmouth.
Yeah, well, that's a nice day too.
And it costs you $1
Right.
Yeah.
to watch them play.
Right.
And
they hustle.
Phenomenal ball game.
Oh yeah.
And they hustle. They slide. They run after a ball. They run to first base.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see that too often. So they just take their time, and I get there fine.
They're trying to be picked up by the next.
But these kids, it's good to see that. It's good to see what real baseball is, and that's what it is.
No.
Somebody called.
Somebody called?
Is it Karen?
No, it won't be Karen.
No.
You're on Talk of the Town.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. How are you tonight?
Fine,
Good, how are you?
Hey, I happen to hear you guys talking about sports. I just want to make sure I called up. I happen to go to the Super Bowl Plymouth South participated in.
Oh, awesome.
Great game.
I got to tell you what, for $17, I sat on the 50-yard line at Gillette. I watched these young men put on such a showing. The game was phenomenal. These kids should be so proud of what they did in representing this town. I was amazed. I had such a wonderful evening. I want to thank the whole sports program. They gave me such a great evening full of pride and great football.
It was a great game, and
That's awesome.
it was saddening that it had the outcome it did. But Tewksbury had a phenomenal record.
But you not only watch a good football game, at that level you're watching sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's caring, it's sportsmanship.
Nope.
And that's one thing I don't think you see in professional sports. I don't think it's there anymore. But high school and college, college, I don't know. It's there to some point, but they're all out for the big contracts too, or getting signed. But high school is all about sportsmanship and teamwork and playing together, and that's the great part of watching that game.
Well, I got to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed that evening, and I want to thank all those young men and the sports program. What a great event for the town. We should all be so proud of these young kids.
Oh, we
Yeah,
are. We are. They did a great job.
You
Great
gentlemen
job.
have a Merry Christmas.
Hey, thanks
You
for
too.
calling.
Thank you.
Merry
Good
Christmas.
But I think that's the word, sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And that's what's not in professional sports anymore. There's no sportsmanship. There's no role models. There's nothing. There's very, I don't want my kid looking up to,
Exactly.
A-Rod or Gary, or,
Yep.
it's just, it was different when we were growing up, Kenny and I, it was
Yep.
different. We had role models, Ted Williams and,
Well, they took it to heart.
Yeah.
They realized that they were
Yeah.
role models. I think that most of your professional sports guys right now really don't realize what they could be. The potential they could be.
especially in baseball. I find it more in
Yeah.
baseball than the other
Yeah.
sport. Football, they seem to do much more. I mean, the Red Sox had a Jimmy Fund, and which is, you can't. What can you say? Jimmy Fund, everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
But other than that, the players don't seem to get involved as much as say like the Patriots do, or
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Things have changed. Like
Sure.
doctors, like sports, everything's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going.
Well, Mr. Brewster,
Yeah.
you're up.
What, you want to talk about the courthouse?
Go right ahead.
What do we think about the courthouse?
I was surprised when I saw the plan and how beautiful the building was and how it fit in that spot. That was one of my concerns. How are they going to put something there that's going to look good and,
Yeah.
and fit in? It's a beautiful building and it does fit in. $35 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's an awful lot of money. With the new school coming on and other things coming in, and
Yep.
if you heard the selectmen's meeting last night, they want to do this, they want to do that,
Yeah.
they're cutting this and cutting that, but I don't know. I don't know if the town's ready to spend $35 million on a town hall.
Well, you're also looking at that amount of money. You're forcing capital projects out for
Yep.
something like 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
You cannot do a capital project
Yep.
other than that. And I think it's a lot of money. I think that I think it's going to go for a referendum. I think it needs to be more than town meeting putting into this. Because
I agree. Since every citizen is infected, by this.
infected or affected?
Affected.
Oh, okay.
And my English teacher here, I'm tired. I've had a long couple of months here.
No, but I think that one thing that this town really needs to start doing is looking towards the future. We need to be really proactive, and we need to look at 3 years from now. And 3 years from now, I think that big nuclear power plant's going to be starting to close down, and we're going to lose that pilot. We're going to lose a lot of money, and we're going to have to find another way to do it. So if we're talking 3 years, that's when we're going to start paying for the
Schools and
the courthouse. One of the other problems with the courthouse is we kind of said, hey, we got to do something in the courthouse. Why don't we put town hall there? We didn't go and say, we need to move town hall. Where would be a good place to put it? Oh, what about here? So it's people don't realize that we do need to find something for town hall. We need to move town hall.
And the other thing is too, we voted to spend $20,000 to do an RFP to send out, offering that building and those buildings to the public, to developers to see if they would be interested, and it never went out because the town hall idea came in, so that was put aside.
Yeah.
I would like to see what they get. I would like to see that building go out. And the other problem is if this doesn't get passed, it sits there.
Yep.
It just sits there.
Yeah.
And, if that's the point, then knock it down.
Put the parking lot right there.
Put the parking lot there. I found out something very, found out something the other day. The Pilgrim Hall Museum only gets 25,000 visitors. Maybe if the courthouse went in there, if they could fit it inside their museum, that it would draw more people for them. So, we would still have the courthouse.
Won't fit there.
I didn't know. I didn't.
No, Pilgrim Hall gets more than that. Pilgrim Hall is fully funded, and they just did a huge multi-million-dollar renovation. So they're doing well. But I think that it's not just an easy slam dunk on this town hall going in there. And I think that we need to fully vet it, like you said. We need to find out. All right, you can't go to town meeting and saying, hey, for 35 mil we can put town hall into the courthouse. We need to say, well, for 35 mil we can put it the townhouse in the town hall and the courthouse. For X amount, we've got a developer who might want to develop it.
Yep.
And if you look at the significance of that building, the courthouse, it isn't that historical.
No, Daniel Webster was never in the building.
Exactly.
He never set foot in the building.
So there is that. I think that we
it's an
really
old building.
Right.
It's a beautiful building. It is
Right.
old. It is beautiful, but
Right.
what can you do with it? That's the thing.
Right.
What can you do with this building? And basically, the commissioner's building in the back is a piece of junk,
Yep.
which has to come down.
Yep.
So what do you got left? You got this little building that needs total replacement from top to bottom,
Right. And
front to back. And
3
it's
years
just-
ago, though, town meeting bought it.
Yep, which I thought it was a mistake then, but
Yeah. Yeah, we've been buying a lot of buildings. I've been hearing a lot of people complaining about
we have
how
it,
many
and
buildings, and we're
I think we should put it out,
Fine.
put an RFP out, and see what happens.
yeah. That'll come.
Do you
think, Mr.
I
Hughes?
think a nice
You're not
Ferris.
quiet.
Well, I'm going to be quiet on this topic because I don't share the same opinion that the two of you do.
Then you should be speaking up. You shouldn't be quiet. What's your opinion?
I don't know where to start.
Well, we're talking
Anyway.
about the courthouse. They're talking about $35 million. We're talking about the town affording that, not affording it. And we're talking about a building we need to do something with.
I don't think that, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this. I don't think that this is the answer to the economic engine that we need in the downtown.
You're not going to catch hell from me on that.
I agree with you. With
I
that.
don't think it's going to be the economic engine that we need in this town. If you take that and you look at 11 Lincoln Street as it is right now, you'll see that the amount of business that 11 Lincoln Street drives into the downtown is minimal. You do get a lot of the lunch crowd going up to the end of Lincoln Street
Yep.
to buy lunch, those two restaurants at
Right.
the end of the street. I think if you take that group and move it to the courthouse, all you're doing is
Well, you're going to have public bathrooms, too.
big freaking deal.
That's strong for Mr. Beats. Let me tell
No,
you.
I said
noticed,
freaking.
but that's even that strong for you.
But I mean, I don't like the smell of porta potties. What makes you think I'm going to use a public restroom? My wife could tell you, if I need a toilet, I drive home. I won't use a toilet. I think what this town needs, what it really, really needs, in my ever so humble opinion, is not one, but 2 parking garages. What a lot of people don't seem to understand is that we have just about 200 spaces behind, not even
Memorial
200
Hall.
spaces behind Memorial Hall. When you take all the spaces throughout the downtown and Memorial Hall and the satellite parking lots, you got just about 300 total spaces in the whole town. Surveys have been done.
We need about 6.
Surveys have been done. We need 600 spaces. Okay, so you build a garage, a 3-story garage behind
Memorial Hall,
Memorial Hall,
which is faltering.
and you're only going to gain 35 spaces.
Yeah,
That's all you're going to gain,
right.
35. So, what would I do? I'd build the one behind Memorial Hall, and at the same time, I would tear down the courthouse. Now, you could do with the courthouse like they did with the Ferdinand's building in Roxbury at Dudley Station. They took this beautiful Victorian building and they detached the dilapidated furniture store from the back of it, propped up the facade, and built this beautiful complex behind it. And they saved the facade of the building.
Yeah.
There's nothing historical about that courthouse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So separate the facade. The engineers told the town, and I was sitting in the room, and I have the video at home, that they told the committee the best thing that you can do is tear down the building. It will give you a 1 acre spot in the downtown which you can sell retail and make money. Now, I don't believe the town should be in the business of selling real estate.
Right.
But
We're in the business of buying real estate.
or
lately.
buying real estate either. I think that there's a lot of things they need to deal with, one of which my pet peeves is, and it looks like it's being taken care of, I'll let that go. They got more ink than I do. Anyways, I would take the facade of that building, if somebody wanted to save it, save the facade, prop it up, and dig down as far as you can and put another 300 spaces right there. The whole issue is over. You've got the parking. You got the people going downtown. You got a parking garage behind. Now work on something else for economic development in the downtown.
The problem is that the driving force behind the parking garage was GATRA.
Yep.
And GATRA didn't want to go up the hill with the buses.
Nope.
And I don't know, I heard a rumor that GATRA was pulling out of the whole deal to have it behind Memorial Hall. I heard that the other day, that
well.
they were the money.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
Wow, twice.
Wow, he's getting really
I
risque.
know. But that's the money for that.
No? If I
So
had
we wait
any-
another 10, 15 years for a parking
Hey,
garage.
look, I think that the town's really got a problem with 2020. I know
No.
I know there's some people sitting very close to me right now that don't want to hear that. But I think the town has a problem.
Well, I think part of, if you want to move on, part of the problem with 2020 is perception. Because I've been trying to tell 2020, you guys got to do something big that's a splash, because
Yes.
the town doesn't think you're doing anything.
No, they don't.
Right. And they've had a lot of reorganization, which they've been working hard to get going. They need to they need to have a float in every damn parade in the town. They need to have 2020 plastered any way they can possibly put it. They need to be at every event with a big, huge 2020 banner, a huge 2020 banner. And they need to, they're still working on the education part of it, where they're going to different schools across the United
With
States.
the van,
Yeah, with
Yeah,
that
trailer.
That trailer
the trailer.
with the moving museum.
Yeah, the moving museum, which I think that's a phenomenal idea, because we need to shout from the rooftops that we're 2020 and we're going to be 400 years old, and that's a huge deal. I think that we really need to start promoting that. I think that half of it is a PR problem. I do think that the other half is they've got to have a really good executive director come in and kick some butt and say, where are we and why aren't we here? And it is, it's getting closer and closer.
Time's moving fast.
Yeah.
I was glad to see that, JB, Jonathan Beater from the...
He's doing a great job.
He's doing
Yes.
a great job. The rotary that they're going to put, the roundabout that they're going to put down, how they're going to improve the waterfront down
just
to,
lost
all the way down
Big
to,
grant on that.
all the way down to Nelson Park. I think that's great, because actually the waterfront we need something. We need something down there to improve the waterfront. I mean, it's beautiful. You look out and you see the boats and the docks, and it's a beautiful setting. But we need more to make it more friendly for tourists and
You come
for residents.
all the way down to the Rotary, and what do you see on the left-hand side?
Nothing.
The 1620
Yeah,
that
20.
has been
Closed forever.
Take it.
closed for 150 years.
Yeah, closed forever.
Yeah.
And, we need to do something. And the only problem I have with 2020 and this big celebration is what's going to happen to all these people come here? What are we going to do with them?
Yeah.
Where are they going to go?
Yeah,
Where are they going to
look
park?
you look at the General Mayflower Society. when they have their big event, which has got a couple thousand people, they have to go to Taunton to get to a complex that can hold them.
Yep. Now, I thought a great idea for 2020 would be having a dog show. And it draws a lot of people.
Other than just yours?
Other than just mine.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's big enough, he's fine. But I thought to be a good draw for 2020. And I talked to a couple of kennel clubs, and they said, we can't go to Plymouth because they don't have any place big enough for us.
Yeah.
And I said, you're kidding. They said, no, we have people come in their RVs. We need hookups.
Really?
They won't. If they don't have hookups, they're not coming.
Yeah.
So, so I think, people are going to come. If people are coming from all over the country, a lot of them come in RVs. We don't have any hookups for them.
Yeah.
We don't, we need
That's
to.
something they're looking at.
We need to start doing something there. At least tell me something. I haven't heard anything, like you said. I haven't heard anything about the plans on 2020. It's been kind of secretive,
Yeah.
The stamp thing, I gave all the information to Ken Tavares way back when.
Yeah.
And about how to get a stamp issued from the Postal Service, like Jamestown did. I don't know where that is.
I know. I think we're like 200 or 300 away from the
License plates.
That's a shame if that doesn't go
Yeah,
through.
we need to. They need to be more. If they want to get the community involved, they got to tell the community what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they really haven't. And I'm nervous about when 2020 gets there. What are we going to do with all these people?
Yeah.
And what are they going to think? What are they going to think when they come here and see what we have now? We've got to do something more than this.
Yep.
Or they'll never come back.
Well, JB's been working a lot
JB's
with them on the infrastructure, which I think is a huge deal. And JB's been doing, I got to tell you, the whole trash thing has been doing phenomenal. We're down on tonnage, up on recycling, and they're going to reopen, they're working on Manomet right now.
Yep.
So that's going to come through.
And we're not going to talk about trash anymore.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That'd be great.
All these years.
JB's talking trash for the last
all
3
these
years.
we're going to do this, we want to do this. Well, no, yes, no, up, down. But now it's working.
Yeah.
I don't have curbside. I do go to the transfer station, but whatever you want is there. And the town has accommodated people, so it's working.
It's funny because one of the biggest complaints was that we're closing South Street. And so everybody was complaining, you can't close South Street. And so JB came out and said, well, we're going to close Manomet for 2 weeks so we can redo everything. And everybody's like, well, where am I going to go? Well, South Street's still. It's like you've been arguing that South Street's this big deal and it's going to be closed, but now you can go to South Street.
And they made Cedarville's hours the same as Manomet's.
Right.
So, I live in South Plymouth, so when I get down the end of Halfway Pond Road, I can take a right to go to Manomet. I can take a left to go to,
So it's people in North Plymouth that have to drive all the way down.
But they go to South Street right now. That never closed. They never went to Manomet anyway.
Yeah, but the days that Manomet was closed, it was quite the trek to go to.
Well, then you wait. I'm sorry.
Or you get curbside.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got curbside.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You
get your barrels and everything.
I
saw
got
on
my
Facebook.
barrels. I'm ready to jump in
Ready to
them.
jump in.
Yeah. So, now, I got a text message from one of our non-callers. Wanted to know if you two guys had completed your Christmas shopping.
Is that my wife?
It was a friend of your wife's.
Oh.
Did they tell them where to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to
What am I getting?
Are you going to Jared's?
Very good, Stevie.
Yeah.
Very good.
Walmart has good stuff too,
I'm done. We're going to have a lean Christmas this year because we have a big project going on at the house. So we said to
What are you doing at the house?
we're having a generator put in, propane in the
good.
generator.
Good.
So that's.
We're supposed to be putting in Noah's man cave this winter. We're redoing the basement. So have you got yours done?
Stevie, if you had your glasses, you could read it, but you don't have your glasses. That's funny. I love that. That's really good.
Wesley's going to Jared. You're already running around the corner right after the show. You can get there before it closes.
That's right. That's right.
Now, you can participate in this.
Yes, please call.
You can
Wesley's
participate
looking for
in this.
ideas.
508-830-3971.
Where's Gallerani? He always calls.
Yeah, come on. Where are you, David? David's afraid.
Dick Silva, he calls. Come on, Dick.
Dick's watching the Red Sox or something. Oh, wait, no, the Red Sox aren't on.
Where's he been?
He's been on his phone texting. He yelled at me for having my phone, and he's been on the phone since we started.
I can still hear your phone vibrate every once in a while.
It's not my phone.
He's got gas.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
There's the phone.
Oh, God. See what you're missing, Tim?
Yeah, Tim's like, I missed that one.
Dodged another bullet.
That's a bullet.
Now, what are you guys going to be doing for Christmas? What are you doing for the holidays?
Apparently, I'm shopping.
You are. You wouldn't answer that one. So, what are you guys doing? Huh?
It's a phone call?
Yep. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, this is Jared Jewelers. I'd like to speak to Wrestling Booth.
Here he is.
You guys are having a tough time back there.
That's why we need you to call.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Thank you.
Click.
Oh, boy. So, we'll change the subject a little. So, Kenny, what's your take on the selectors meeting last night with the budget? And
Oh, boy.
what'd you think about, so they're bantering around about, I don't know, what, $250,000 or something.
Yeah.
They got to figure out where it's coming from and all this jazz. And then Kenny Tavares comes up with actually a great idea. He says, so what's with the school department? They operate separately from the town. And why is it that they got to consult for $30,000 to find all this energy? And the town's going, oh, my God, yeah, we got to get the energy. Right? And why the hell, what is the big secret between the two, the school department and the town side, that they can't work together? What the hell's wrong with these people?
Because we can't touch their budget.
You can't do their budget, David. It's mandated.
Did anybody stop to think that, like, this is America? I mean, what the hell?
I agree with you, David. I agree. Now, to answer one part of that question, I'm sure you remember, it's not too long ago, David Malaguti said that he wanted to do something about taking over the power for they wanted the town to manage the power.
Right, to build their own power plant or whatever, like Weymouth does, or there's a couple of towns north of here that do that.
Yeah, Hingham does it.
Yeah.
Right. So, my take on the budget is this, Dave. I just hope I don't catch a lot of crap for this. My biggest bone of contention was I kept hearing the word free cash, free cash, free cash. And I decided that I was going to say something about it. And I never get the opportunity to. And now we have the Board of Selectmen last night saying that free cash is not really free cash. We got to do this, that, and the other thing with it. My idea would be that if you've got money left over at the end of the budget year, it's not free cash. It's just cash that you and I don't have to worry about our taxes going up the following year with a new tax assessment. Deduct that $5 million off the tax rate.
Free cash is like an EBT card, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If it's left over,
They keep
if you
saying our
don't spend it, you
accreditation
don't
will go
use it, it should go back into next year's budget.
That's right.
But
So that's what I think about it.
and the school side, unfortunately, the state doesn't let us touch. That the school side and the town side has to be totally
Well, when can
separate.
that change? I mean, so what are we locked into this for the rest of our natural lives? It's like, what are you kidding me?
Well,
So this is like you can't change anything in this state, right?
Well, it's also you got to take a little bit of it as a town meeting member, that we as town meeting members, the budget comes up and we say, yeah, okay, go ahead, spend it. We don't sit there and say, hey, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, but they don't lead you down a very good path. You know how it is a town meeting. It's all choreographed. It's like the school comes up and everybody goes, yep, that's their budget, and then you just go, okay.
Right, exactly. And last year, I questioned my Estes on the 70,000 for the HVAC. 70.
Right.
Yeah.
You did.
And he said, well, we've been doing it everywhere else, and it's going to save us, 10,000. And I'm like, well, that math doesn't work for me. But I think what it takes is people like you and me and other people questioning parts of that. Town meeting can say, hey, what about this? Why are we spending this money here and there? But we don't. And I think that's what it takes because, as a town, the selectmen can't touch the budget and can't, line item it, but we can ask questions about it. And I think what we need to do is we need to make it more open. When it comes to town meeting, people are watching town meeting, and my hope was that when I brought up that much money for HVAC, that people would say, wait a minute. So when it came up next year or something came up, people would call their town meeting representatives and say, hey, I want to know about this 70,000, or I want to know about that.
And the other thing that screws up our budget
is that they don't generally call us, and
no,
and so we kind of vote what we think is the right thing at the time. And people very rarely call it unless it's a real lightning rod issue.
Right.
Like the trash thing. I got a couple of calls on the trash thing, and people were against it just because I think people hate change, and change is bad. They didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I was reading the paper tonight. There was a bunch of jazz in there. People saying that they either loved it or they hated it, and I don't know if either one of them are right, but it doesn't matter to me. Whatever works. If it works, good. JB's doing a good job.
No, he is.
That. Yep. So,
David, on the school budget, if I might, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. They're always pleading with us as a community to please participate in the budget process when they have these meetings at the CIS school down, the intermediate school they call it now, down on Long Pond Road. They're having such a meeting on Monday night. I made my feelings known. I think that the more we speak up as residents in this community, I think the more they're going to listen because they need our support when it comes to doing all these projects. And if they keep taking money from us that we don't want to give them, then they know they're going to have a hurdle that they can't achieve.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I think Gary's doing a bad job. I think he does a good job.
He's doing a great job.
And the problem with the school system thing is it's for the kids. And so right away you're at a disadvantage because, somebody said to me at my gym, it was Mike Hanlon, I think, and he says, do you ever vote yes for anything?
I wondered that too,
I was just still smarting over last year's Neil's tax.
I vote no about everything. It's just that I don't necessarily agree with your opinion. But, it's like, so.
They can't be that lemming.
You get tired of getting, you get kind of bashed up a little bit, and you just kind of say, well, enough is enough. But it's like Belinda, and I know Rusling's sitting there, but she's the only one that's saying, hey, we got a spending problem here with 86% of the money going to payroll, basically.
Yeah, absolutely right.
That's true.
And you got the other four selectmen saying, we really, basically comes down to, we're afraid the unions are going to vote us out. It's like, what do we got, like career politicians at the selectman's office for crying out loud?
David, back in 83 and 84, one of the largest employers in this country with some of the most militant unions switched their pension system to 401ks and Social Security, and that was the Postal Service. And that's what they're on. And this is what Belinda's been talking about, is, changing the system that we have now with civil service and they also, when like sick leave, you accrue your sick leave, and when you retire, you don't get a check. What they do is they give you a portion and add that to your retirement. So instead of having, if you have 1,200 hours, say, instead of having like 30 years, you have 30 years and 6 months. You don't get that check. I think something like that could be done. And the other problem we have is the state. We have all these mandates that we have to do this, and this, and the state's telling us what to do, and we have to do it. and they don't give us any money.
Right. No,
You
I
know,
know.
they're killing us with
you
this.
put on 3 policemen, and then next thing you know, 3 years later, it's like, okay, we're not paying for that policeman. You're paying for the police.
Yeah, and the school programs and testing and this and that they mandate us to do, and they don't, they don't give us any money.
And in the end, it really comes down to if you want a nice town and you want to live in a nice town, it costs a lot of money to live.
Yeah, it does.
Unfortunately, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The people on the bottom end of the spectrum are getting their butts handed to them a little bit on the tax rate. And, when you look around, you look down Warren Avenue, somebody commented on Facebook the other night about Warren Avenue. There's 1 million houses for sale on that whole
16.
strip going down the waterfront. And
16 houses
people
on
can't
Warren
afford
Avenue.
the taxes. It's tough. It's tough even for the people with the money.
It's tough for everyone.
And what I'll make one comment because I don't want to talk out of my wife's school, but one of the things that I think that we need to do as a community is we can't be afraid to sit at the table and have the conversation. I think a lot of times when it comes to unions and the school, we're afraid to sit down and have the conversation. And it's a conversation. It's sitting down and saying, hey, we got a problem, and how do we solve it?
Yeah,
and
actually,
it's not
Miratori
just
brought
saying,
that up
well, we got a
last night. He
problem,
made a
but we
good
don't want to
point.
talk about it.
Yeah. Miratori made a good point about that last night about, let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I thought he was very good at that. He was trying to bring the parties together a little bit.
Yeah.
David.
All right. Good luck, you guys.
David,
Hey,
Merry
thanks, David.
Christmas.
Merry
and
Christmas, David.
Happy New Year.
All right. Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
Say happy
Thank you.
holidays because I
Thanks.
like Merry Christmas.
Thanks for calling, David.
All right. Take care.
Take it easy. So, gentlemen, we've got just about 55 seconds.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, Ken. You did a good job. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
We have some health problems in my family. Everybody, just think about how healthy we are. Just appreciate your health, appreciate your family.
Yeah.
This is a great time of year, and get together. Thank you.
Definitely. Be joyful.
Yeah.
Go for it, wrestling.
What?
Okay.
He can't. He's going to Jarrett's.
He's going to Jared's. Yeah. Well, listen, next 2 weeks we're going to be in reruns. You won't be seeing this show next
Be on a
week.
show.
Yeah. We were a little guy.
So, Talk of the Town, Jimmy, flip it, will you please? Talk of the Town's going to be, that's not what I wanted, but that's okay. Talk of the Town's going to be in reruns for the next 2 weeks because PAC TV is going to be closed. Thank you, Jimmy. And we won't be here, but you'll be looking at some of Karen and my favorite shows.
See you
And
in
then
28.
PAC will be back the first week in January. And I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And Talk of the Town, we'll see you in 2014. Good night.